What is up, guys? It's AG here. We're back again with another movie review. So this movie is gonna be Chainsaw Man Reze arc. So a little background. Just going back to the anime. Should probably catch up on. I think it's only one season so far, but it does give proper background info and everything. However, it is not required. If you basically just know the basics, the characters and everything of the anime, you don't really need to know a bunch of stuff going into this movie, and I feel like that's why it's also very good, but we'll get into that part a little later. But a general overview of the plot. So basically, we are introduced to, we'll go over the characters after, but Denji, Aki, Power, basically is in their apartment doing the usual stuff, and then it is revealed that Power has some kind of issue with her horns, and I think she has to get blood lost from her, if that's probably not even the proper word, but basically she has to have it removed pretty much by Makima. And there is so much to talk about in this movie. Definitely won't get to all of it in this 10-15 minute video. I could definitely go more in depth if you want to ever just hear me talk more about it, but we're just going to give just a general overview of the movie. But going forward with the plot, so basically it begins with Denji wanting to know if he has a heart. And if you don't, a little more background on the anime, Pochita is basically Denji's heart right now, and in exchange, he just wants to hear, or she just wants to hear Denji's dreams, just want to hear him talk, just want to hear him, live life, and all that stuff. So that's kind of where it starts off with Makima going on a date with Denji and all that stuff. They see all the movies, and there's a very important part where he talks about she talks about 1 out of 10 movies are good and all that stuff. Trying to give a general overview without spoiling too much. But if you guys haven't seen it, I'll probably recommend it multiple times in this video to go see it. I've seen it in both the sub and the dub, and I mean the sub is pretty good, to be honest. It might be better than dub, but me just being a English speaker, I feel like it might be easier to listen to and all that stuff. But going forward, so as you can tell in the trailer where he talks about choosing between two girls, which is Makima, which is, the OG who he always liked, and for, the wrong reasons, to be honest. And then there's a new girl, where she, comes out of nowhere. She's very, friendly, understanding, all that stuff. Seems to be the perfect girl and all that stuff. I mean, I might even make another video on it, just explaining more into her character and more into their connecting arcs, because it is such a good movie. But more into the plot. So they go through a bunch of stuff together, and a little spoiler if you don't want to hear it, but she kind of betrays him in a way. And then that goes into the conflict, and there's a huge battle scene and all that stuff, which is just perfect. But yeah, I mean, that's just a general overview of the plot. Definitely don't want to spoil it, just because this movie is definitely worth the watch. There's probably gonna be a little more glaze in the whole video, but just to start it out, yeah, it's definitely still worth the watch. So going into characters, so in this movie there are many characters, but there are a few main characters that definitely need to be talked about. So first of all, definitely Denji, and then Reze, which is a new love interest, and then third, I would say maybe even Makima, and then Aki is in it for a little bit, and then there is a new character, somewhat new. He was introduced into the anime. However, his arc is kind of smaller, not really that important, so we won't really touch on that one. And then of course there is Denji's new sidekick, since Power is kind of out of commission. His name is Beam, and he is probably one of the best characters in the movie. Definitely the most liked character, one of the most liked characters in the movie, and his high energy. But we'll probably just focus on mainly Denji, Reze, and Makima's arc, since they are probably the most important in this story. So next on to the writing. So honestly, anime movies have been on kind of like a tear this year. The writing has been phenomenal. We will go into a little bit of comparison to the Demon Slayer movie, since I'd say it kind of didn't really set off the trend, but as far as like this year, off the top of my head, it is like one of the main ones in the same genre, and people were saying it is better than Demon Slayer movie because Demon Slayer movie was getting a bunch of reviews, bunch of attention, all that stuff, and now this movie was coming second chronologically to the Demon Slayer movie. That will be in the comparison, and then we'll go into final thoughts and all that stuff at the end. So basically, just kind of talking about the movie. There is so many facets to this movie. So basically, Denji is like just a teenager. He has like a teenager mind. I know I wouldn't say I was the same way as when I was a teenager, but definitely, you could tell he's young, and based on his situation, he never really got the time to grow up and live life. And part of the reason like Pochita gave him his heart and everything was so he could experience that, experience a normal life with just anybody, just in general. And I feel like everybody should have that right to just, live a normal life and like have the good times, the bad times, all that good stuff. But that is, pretty much Denji in this movie. Just a happy-go-lucky guy. He has some funny moments and some very relatable moments. You know what I'm saying? All that stuff. Definitely recommend the movie. But just trying to like brush over it very, very lightly without going into crazy stuff. But for Reze, she is such like a deep character. And the ending of the movie is the reason why people are saying it's better than Demon Slayer, why they're so emotionally attached, all that stuff, and the foreshadowing and the everything, which is so great in the beginning. It really like sets everything up very well. But just going more into detail with Reze. So first of all, she comes out of nowhere, and she seems just like a klutzy, girl, like just trying to talk with Denji, like all this stuff. And it all begins, I believe it is in the trailer, where Denji just gives her a flower, and she's kind of like shocked. She was like really, you know what I'm saying? Like this kind of came out of nowhere and all that stuff. And that's kind of like the driving force that sets her character apart from, let's just say, her original intentions and from the whole path of the movie. And I was really trying not to spoil the movie, but overall, she is, let's just say, she's probably around the same age or maybe even a little older than Denji, but they are very, very connected, and she is a very, I won't say complicated character, because you can understand like the reason why she does the stuff she does and the way she feels, why she feels, but it's just super hard not to spoil the movie without giving a proper review to her character. So I do recommend you guys watch it. But with that being said, I'll probably just try to move on to Makima's character, and we are kind of on the Makima hate train. You know what I'm saying? Sorry to all the Makima fans that may or may not see this, but her thing is just like pure control. But just going back to give it credit to the movie, you can see through her actions, like the little subtle things that she does, whether she's just like bopping her head to the music going on and stuff, where it just shows how interconnected and informed she is to the story. Just a little foreshadowing in case nobody that's watching this has read the manga or seen the anime, but she is basically, she knows a lot more than she lets on. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, she doesn't come off as somebody that's klutzy and doesn't act like they don't know anything. She more acts like she does know everything, but she definitely does know more than she lets on, I would say. But that would be that for the characters. And what is the theme we were going to talk about? So, I mean, basically, the theme basically is something that I could like connect to like real life. So we see Denji and we see Reze after their arcs and everything, and basically it is just kind of to like live life and enjoy it. Usually when I see movies, I try to connect it to the previous review, as I did with Now You See Me and then Running Man and all that stuff. But it is a little different since I'm doing Predator and Chainsaw Man. But this movie is basically just overall, without spoiling anything, you know what I'm saying? Without spoiling anything, I would say to like just enjoy life and just be thankful for a lot of things. It is basically, so the thing I forgot to mention is the contrast between a city mouse and a country mouse. So that is a big part of the story, as you can probably try to connect between Makima and Reze. The city mouse is the one that has everything all around them, good food, good stuff, like entertainment. The country mouse is more of like a simpler life, right? Like you have the simpler things around you, not much hustle and bustle. You have the things that you really need, I would say. And it gives a good argument for both, which would connect into the theme. And I mean, you can make arguments for both. However, I would say Makima would be like the city mouse, where there are many fans of her character, and I can understand why, because she's more of like a necessary, you have to do what you have to do to get to a point, to get things done, by any means necessary, and that could be seen as good and bad depending on how important the goal is. But this is not a Makima dissection video. This is basically just a general talking of the movie and everything that's going on in the movie, just a general overview. But it really just puts your own thoughts into perspective, basically letting you make the decision of, would you rather be a city mouse or a country mouse? And like me personally, I'd probably rather be like a country mouse to have everything you need, everything, that being like Reze. Of course, not everything is perfect, you know what I'm saying, but to have everything you need and all that stuff is more important than to have like the more material things and have to sacrifice a lot to get to that point. But to have kind of everything you need, like bare minimum right off the bat, I feel is definitely a lot better. So the plot and theme in this movie would basically go back to what lifestyle would fit you, all that kind of stuff. And it's important to, like, how can I say this without, sorry, I'm really trying not to spoil the movie. So we'll just go back. So basically, I really wish I could do it in front of like a live audience so I can hear your guys' thoughts, because it's literally just me, just talking to myself. You know what I'm saying? Just trying to give a general overview of the movie without spoiling it. But it's just so important to understand whether you want to be like a country mouse or a city mouse, and what path you want to take, all that stuff. And it shows both sides, good and bad. And light spoiler, I just kind of finish it off. But once you're in the life, you can't leave. You can't flip-flop, not like the old, wives' tale, where you can switch with somebody else and be the country mouse or be the city mouse. Like, once you try to leave, usually does not end too good. And that'll be probably just a light spoiler for the whole movie. But I do highly encourage recommending it for you guys to go watch it, because it is truly a 1 out of 10 movie. Not meaning one star out of 10 movies, but as it says in the movie, where it says out of every 10 movies, one of them will be exceptional. And I say this would be very, very exceptional. But just kind of closing it off, comparing it to Demon Slayer. So there's not a lot of backstory as there was in Demon Slayer, and you don't really need to know a lot of background as you would in Demon Slayer. So that's why it probably connected more to audiences. And I would say it might have connected more with me because I did read the entire manga of Demon Slayer, and so I already knew most of the story before going into the movie. But overall, it might be a little better than Demon Slayer, despite me being a huge Demon Slayer fan, probably more than Chainsaw Man. But yeah, I mean, if you haven't seen it yet, this video will come out way after it was released, and I'll probably watch it a few more times in theaters just because I do have the AMC A-list pass, and that's why I keep pushing out these movie reviews and all that stuff. But yeah, I mean, if you guys want to hear me continue to talk at all, I will be doing a study stream later today, since I do have a lot of homework and all that stuff. But I will try to get Zootopia out once it's a little more available. The seats have been filling up pretty quick, and I just haven't had too much time on my hands to go there while it's super busy. But yeah, overall, I just want to thank you guys for listening. Please let me know your thoughts in the comments. The main reason I made this channel is just to kind of connect with you guys, hear your comments. If you like it, you don't like it. I just want to really connect with you guys and build something that we can do together, with my audience and stuff. But yeah, overall, I'm just gonna go ahead and wrap up the video. Just want to thank you guys for watching. Let me know your thoughts. Oh, and one more thing, we are doing a giveaway at the end of the week. I think it ends in about 6 days. $25 gift card. Link is in the description of my channel. We do have a few entries so far, so still there's pretty good chances if you guys are interested. But on that note, we're gonna go ahead and end the video. I just want to thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys have a good day.